Welcome to the Booth Podcast.
So you're in a relationship, right?
Yes.
How do you know, or how did you know that you were ready for that relationship, or just a relationship in general?
Honestly, you don't even know. You're not even supposed to know.
Uh-huh.
The funny part was before I got into my relationship with my girlfriend,
Yeah.
we both said we were going to stay single for the rest of the year.
So should the viewers and
I
keep
think
saying
everybody
that?
should well, what you can actually take from this is that once I've accepted that I'm good enough for the whole year and I don't need to be dependent on anybody
Yeah.
for, loving myself, that's when I was like, yeah, like if someone comes along, I guess, but I'm very much okay with being single, and I wanted to just like live my life until I guess someone came along, which she did. But yeah, like I think everybody should take it upon themselves to find it in them to be able to say, oh, I like being single. I'm okay with that. And I guess I'm ready for anyone that wants to come along. Because again, even if you say you think you're ready, doesn't mean you're gonna get into the best relationship right
100%.
away.
And I feel like a lot of people with that mentality, I'm a victim of it, was like they're excited for it when sometimes they're not really ready. Because I guess like when you say like, oh yeah, I'm looking for relationships, it doesn't come naturally.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. You think it's gonna be like a movie,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, you turn your side and you're like, oh,
Yeah, like one example, or like one thing that I used to do often, like this when I was ready, like every corner, everywhere I went, everything I did, I'm like, oh, is there a cute girl, whatever?
yeah,
Are they gonna shoot their shot on me? Am I gonna shoot my shot on them? Like looking everywhere, looking for love everywhere when I wasn't in love with myself yet.
Ooh.
Cause dude, I kept saying I was ready, kind of like masking it, right?
Yeah,
Just to attract it.
Mm.
Oh, horrible idea.
Mm.
Because it got to a point where I kept looking. And I'm like, why am I looking for something that isn't there?
Yeah.
And like I learned that, I wasn't in love with myself. I wasn't complete. Like I thought I had to do everything with like a person. I was dependent, like you're right. And I'm like, no, I don't. I do a lot of things on my own, and I enjoy it. I enjoy my peace, And like at the time, I guess I wasn't like emotionally stable because I wasn't free of my past. Meaning, I was still getting over heartbreak that I didn't know was there, or at least like
still healing the trauma.
Yeah. And it killed me because I'm like I kept saying, oh yeah, it's over me. It's like I'm over it.
Yeah.
When I'm just there's a difference between pushing it aside and actually getting over it.
Like actually acknowledging and confronting your trauma. Dude, there was a time where like I just felt like I couldn't move on with my life because of my heartbreak. And then my friend told me, she said this, and I think everybody can take something from this, was you've lived how many years of your life alone? Do you really need that person? Can you really not live on another few more years? What's one day, right? What's one day of without this person? And once you put that into perspective, like you did, have your childhood years alone. You had like your elementary years alone.
Yeah.
Maybe a few high school years alone. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody. Once you realize you are capable of like moving forward with your life, and just you can wake up and smell the roses, like everything's gonna be okay. And I think it's the first step is to accepting like, okay, like I don't need to always have that special someone. Like, and I think one thing is you got to be able to get over, like you said, the trauma, but get over your ex if you are just coming out of a relationship.
Or exes, just for people.
Oh. I don't know who he's
I've heard like a lot of stories where I still think about this person, but then they'll see another person like later on. I'm like, oh, are you good?
I don't know what kind of people he's interacting with, but if you got to heal from a bunch of exes, whatever it is, you got to heal from that, because obviously you can't open up yourself to another person when in the back of your mind it's like emotional cheating, because you're still thinking about all these other people. It's just not gonna be something that you want in your foundation.
Yeah, and it becomes like later on in life, kind of a burden
Yeah.
that you're carrying without knowing. And it just gets heavier and heavier. And once you realize why, like you work on it, you free yourself of it, and you feel so relaxed.
Yeah, you feel free.
Yeah, like I not carried, but like it took me a while to get over like heartbreaks, and I'm like, oh, like this hurts, it's their fault, I'm over it, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, part of it was because of me, you know, accepting my flaws, insecurities, right, and taking the time to learn more about myself, going more in depth, because once you have like that mental stability with yourself, you're clear of your mind, like mental clarity, right? You can make better decisions. You know what you want. You know what you need. The need part is like essential.
Yeah.
Because you know you shouldn't be treated like shit, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like doing these certain things because it makes you feel this way.
Yeah.
Right? Just like, it just feels so nice.
Yeah. One more thing that I wanted to say was achieve what you want to achieve while you're single before you get into a relationship.
Yeah.
For example, there are like, at least for us, like Filipinos, the girl is usually told, study first and then boys later.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a way, it's good advice.
Yeah.
Because then you take away these distractions. But also, it's like, what I'm trying to apply it to is like, let's say you wanted to always, I don't know, skydive.
Yeah.
I don't know. You always want to skydive, but you know, if you were to get into a relationship, let's say your partner doesn't want you to skydive, you're never gonna skydive again.
Yeah.
So you might as well like go ahead and do the things that you want to do, so that you also learn more about yourself, right? And it becomes more about who you are, so that when you do get ready to get into a relationship, a long-term one, the person that ends up with you likes you for everything that you've ever accomplished and done in your life, which I think is a lot more rewarding in the long term than it is like not knowing who you are, not doing the things you wanted to do, and then getting into a relationship super fast. And then you end up resenting that person. You end up resenting yourself at times because you're like, man, if I wasn't in a relationship, you know, I could have hung out with the boys, or I could have
gone here, I could have gone on this trip, done this. Like, I think many times over, it's like you want to be at peace with yourself. And like for people who are single, you'll enjoy the time you have with yourself. Because I'm doing that right now. It feels so good. I make my other friends jealous. It feels good.
I ain't jealous.
You're not my only friend. But yeah, just enjoy the time you have.
Yeah.
But just like you said, you learn new things. Like, I learned many things. Like, one thing was, I guess, sewing.
Yeah.
Just making clothes. Like, I didn't know I liked that. It took more time. Like, I love this. I don't want to be bothered by anyone right now.
Yeah.
And once you're in that zone, and once that you're at the peak of like self-love, it feels great.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize maybe I can share this love with someone else.
That's another thing. Self-love. Being able to accept the insecurities and being able to fill in that emptiness that you felt either when a person left or when you never got to work on it because you're focused on school or work or whatever have you. Being able to fill yourself with love in terms of like all the things that made you feel bad. Like, oh, you know, I don't know, like for maybe your acne is something, or you never liked your hair or the way you dressed. This is your time to build on top of that, you know, invest in yourself so that by the time that you do get into relationships, like you're whole in that sense. Oh, I dress nice now. I'm ready to get taken notice from. Or, ooh, like I like my skin. It's so clear. Whatever it is. Yeah. You know, because at the end of the day, like even if you get into a relationship and that person's going to be like, oh, like you're this, you're that, you're never going to believe another person, right? Like just because, I don't know, Ken compliments me on, I don't know what it is. I don't know, anything.
His movies, his film.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to completely believe you because I'm my number one critique. Yeah. Right? And so you need to be able to like fill in those gaps of insecurity and emptiness so that when you get into a relationship, you have enough room to give that person your love. And not the other way around, right? Yeah. Oh, reassure me. Even though I get it, like there are days that you need reassurance in a relationship. Being able to be like, oh, like I can give this person love, and I don't need to be needy. Yeah. In the relationship is a lot more like fueling the relationship than it is depleting its energy. You know? How do you know when you're ready to commit into a relationship? There are a lot of things that you get like that I did. At least I didn't. I mean, I did know. but I didn't know.
I mean, I guess it's a learning experience at the same time, right?
It definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, I think you really learn it when you realize that the person that you're with is who you want to commit to. Yeah, it's a lot more different. It's a lot more different, right? Because the relationships, I'm gonna point this out because I'm a little biased, I guess. I don't know how I could be biased, but I'm a little biased because the relationship that I'm in, the one I'm committing to right now, is a whole different vibe. It's a whole different person that I really want to make it with, where I never had that with any other person.
Yeah.
The other people that I used to be in a relationship with, I never saw a future.
So it's more like short-term memory or goals or whatever like that?
Yeah, it was like I was doing it because I wanted to be in a relationship. But this one is like I want to be in a
long-term.
Like I want to be in a relationship. I want to be married to this person. I want to have like that. That's what I see with this person that I never saw. So it's a whole different thing where if you're actually committed to being with that person forever versus like, yeah, we'll be in a relationship. Like I like this person a lot, you know. Like me and my partner both looked at each other as like, wow, this is potential to be a lot more down the line. So that's why we decided these are the three things that I learned.
Dom's corner.
What it takes to actually maintain a relationship is a lot more difficult than meets the eye.
What do you mean?
Meaning all movies, TV shows, it doesn't show you, okay, maybe not all, but not all movies or TV shows show you the actual difficulties that comes with relationships.
Oh,
Meaning,
yeah, I'd say so.
There's a lot more fights, and that's completely okay.
I'd say that, like, if you don't have fights, that's not a healthy relationship.
Exactly.
In my opinion, but
if you fighting, but in terms of like, you fight to grow, not fight to like, split up.
Or like to win the argument.
Yeah, it's not about winning the argument. You do things for each other. You sacrifice for each other. And you also sacrifice, as in like, when I mean sacrifice for each other, I don't mean like you give up this for them. I mean, that is sometimes the case, but it's more like you give up time with them so that they can grow. Yeah. Meaning like, I want you to be happy. So I'm going to just be like, I'm going to cool down. I'm going to like be a little more patient. You can go do your thing. That's what I mean by like, it gets tough, man. You can't always be with that person 24/7 and you have to be okay with it. Yeah. Because you know that in the long run, we're going to be together at the end of the day anyways. Yeah. Like being able to give your partner time, let's say like in the middle of the day, instead of being so clingy, because at the end of the day you're gonna go to bed with that person. Yeah, like, you know what I mean. And you're gonna there's always gonna be a sunny ending, a happy ending.
Yeah. Because I was watching Modern Family again, right? Yeah. There's this clip or this episode where it's like Phil and Claire. Claire's like, I just need space to myself, right? And I think that's important if you want to commit in a relationship. Yeah. Because if you're clingy with the person, you're with them all the time, you want room to breathe, man. Yeah. Right? I mean, that can also apply to like friendships too, but we're talking about relationships. And if you don't give the person room to breathe, you won't grow. Yeah. Or at least grow to your full extent. Yeah. Because it's like,
at the end of the day, you're not two people together unless you're married. Yeah. That's different. But yeah, I think even marriages have healthy spaces, breaks. Because it's almost like, hey, bro, you playing long term in the game? You're not LeBron James, bro. Get on the bench, bro. We gonna win if you stay on the bench. Heal up. I'm gonna put you in when it counts, right? And so that's what people lack in relationships. They think it's all we have to. No, let's take a step back. Let's remember that how much we love each other. Now let's work on it. It's not. Let's just keep pushing through. It's not about pushing through. Because the more that you push through, the friction gets too much to bear, there's a lot more difficulties that I can't really explore maybe in a future podcast, but knowing that relationships are hard work at the end of the day and not just the movies, they're not always perfect. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. But it's understanding that there's going to be adversity. There's going to be struggle. But it's who you want to struggle with that makes the difference in the long term.
Yeah, because a lot of things go a long way when you like think of those bigger goals like marriage or like actual commitment compared to like high school relationships, right? You guys, I feel like many others were like, they'd say, "Oh yeah, I'm committed to this person," but they were just blatantly saying it without meaning.
Yeah.
right? And they be doing all these things, like let's say, like more materialistic wise, right? So like not really getting to know their partner, because if you want to commit, you need time, effort to get to know the person.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, and listening is also an important thing for that. If you don't listen to your partner and your committed relationship, you'll never understand them,
Yeah.
and that just ruins a lot of things.
Yeah, because they want to always feel that their feelings are valid.
Yeah.
And that you actually care to listen to their feelings, which is another thing where it's like being able to drop your ego in fights in your relationship, because it's not just about you anymore. Now you are with someone that you're committing to. You can't always be you, right? And again, that's just the sacrifice that you have to make if you want to be in a relationship. If you don't want to be in a relationship, bro, do you.
Yeah.
Do you. That's it. But listen, you're not going to build anything with your ego.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be able to be like, all right, maybe here I'm wrong. Or maybe here I'm not wrong, but for the sake of my relationship, I'm going to like, you know, cool down because I know later on my partner's going to get it. That's a hard lesson I'm trying to learn at the moment, where it's like, you don't have to, it's not about winning the fights, right? In a relationship, it's not about winning fights. It's more about being a team, because it's not me versus you. It's us versus the problem.
Yeah. I remember hearing that many times over. Like you against, if it's always you against your partner, you guys will never meet eye to eye.
Yeah.
And like, if let's say you hypothetically win the argument, yeah, you'll feel happy, but they'll like kind of start to resent you.
Yeah.
And like, oh, this is how you are. And like, they feel like they're not treated like right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, okay. You feel like you're higher. You're like the better one in this relationship, when it's never that. It's never that.
Yeah. Sometimes winning the argument is losing the relationship.
Damn, that's like shot. But one thing too, that I feel like you have to do to like become in a committed relationship is being vulnerable, right? Because if you constantly have your guard up and you're not letting them through, you're never gonna get anywhere. You're never gonna grow through the ground, you know, grow your roots or whatever, because they're gonna constantly like assume you're okay when you're not, and it just breaks you down by yourself, like mentally, emotionally. And then some people they hate the other for not knowing, but like, how are they gonna know if you don't tell them?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you don't tell them, you're ruining your relationship, and it's not their fault. It's your fault.
Yeah.
As a person.
Another one I had was sacrificing a part of your life to make them a part of your life completely, right? For example, is like, how important is, I don't know, like hanging out with your girls at night or with the boys? Right? How important is that versus like, let's say for her, it's for your partner, it's very important that you ask her out on a date and take her to a nice dinner night or have a small movie night. Movie night or a night with the boys.
Listen, that's a hard thing. In case if I haven't seen my boys in like 5 years, 3 years down the line,
it might be situational, but what I'm trying to say,
okay, that's just sorry, I'm single, guys. Okay, I'm not in a relationship, so my view is different right now.
It's definitely situational, but when it's like you're trying to commit to a person, like it's us or nothing type of vibe. It's like, yo, I would appreciate it if we watched a movie together because, you know, it's important to me that we spend time together. We have that because I don't know. I mean, to an extent, yes, it's nice to be like able to have your own life.
Yeah.
That's nice. But at the same time, it's nice to know that the relationship still has a spark, you know, and how much do you really care for that person to make space for them in your life? You know, how important is that extra business meeting? How important is, you know, I don't know, going to that haircut? Can you really not make time for me?
Yeah.
And if you can't show that to your partner, good luck.
Dude.
Because there are so many times that you'll get like in these situations where your girlfriend wants more time with you, your boyfriend wants more time with you, and you're like, oh, I want to live my life, but you have to be able to drop that ego and be able to sacrifice for them, because if you don't, who knows, this might be the turning point for the relationship. This might be the time that they start resenting you for not spending more time with them. And being on the receiving end is
I can imagine it's pretty bad.
It's just it's a losing battle. It's a losing battle.
And I feel like if the more you start to decline things, like, oh no, let me just do this real quick, right? And it's like going over your priorities over theirs. You start to lose them. Start to lose. Well, I guess you can kind of say you lose yourself, but more or less they start resenting you, especially if it's like an important thing to them. Even something small, if you say no to that, they'll start losing a lot.
Yeah.
And they'll start like their walls start getting teared down. Like, oh, our building blocks that just found for our relationship is, not growing. It's not. We're not putting more on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's horrible, man.
Yeah.
Like, make time for your significant other. It's something small like a movie. Well, at least I think it's small for now. Goes a long way.
Yeah, because at this point you're trying to commit to a person, right? Whereas in the beginning of the podcast, it's all about what you can do for yourself before you even open to dating.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're trying to get that step into reality of, the difficulties that come with a relationship, right? It's a bundle package with some stuff that you have to be okay with and accept, hopefully.
2, 1. Welcome to the Booth Podcast. All right, 3, 2, 1. You're.
Oh. Was I not supposed to play that?
No.